It's nothing over the top like Barry Flash saying like, "Oh, I'm a goofy guy."
What about my blood sugar?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Ah!
Sorry, just to brief relapse. Brief.
So just so everybody knows, after we did the previous episode with Justice League, we continued to talk about Justice League for like another half an hour.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean...
It sucks!
Yeah, it sucks.
Grown-up, human, comic, people! Grown-up, human, comic, people!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 47 of Volume 2 of Grown-Up Human Comic People. We are still at it. Still going super fucking strong. We got whiskey on the table. Everything's crazy here. We're partying. We got all kinds of beer.
We kicked the Greg Nog.
We kicked the Greg Nog.
Is it going?
I love the way you say, we're pardoned and there's all kinds of beer.
That's a quote. That's from Airheads.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so whenever so after they make their demands, right? There's like the huge crowd outside, and who says it?
Rex.
Yeah. Steve Buscemi. Like they come out to talk to the cops, and like they all run out to get like the shit that they asked for. And he's just in the doorway like, yeah, we're partying. We got all kinds of beer.
Yeah. We're partying in here. We got all kinds of beer.
Which, A, they don't. And B, like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, that means
best.
you're going hard.
He's out there and he's making muscles and then he's like flipping the bird and shit.
Steve Buscemi was in Airheads?
Yeah, he's the bass player.
Fuck, man.
He looks
Steve
so-
Buscemi is one of like my favorite supporting actors.
Oh, yeah.
Just hands down.
He looks so different as that bass player.
He looks cool.
He looks so much
Yeah.
younger, so fucking cool.
Yeah.
In fairness, that was like fucking 20 years ago. More than 20
More
years.
than that.
At like the same time though, he was playing like Ellen's
weird
dad.
uncles and shit.
Ellen's dad and
Yeah.
Pete and Pete at like the same
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
being
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
being
that's a
like
good point.
40, but
Yeah.
like in that movie, he looks like he's like 25.
Yeah.
I don't know,
It's the
man.
same time though.
At that time, though, like when he was on all that stuff, he still looked like a normal human being. Now he looks like a peanut with the chemotherapy.
Mr. Peanut with chemotherapy.
He kind of looks like, what's his name? Mr. Poopy Butthole.
He does look a little bit like Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi looks a little bit like Mr. Poopy Butthole. Write that down. Okay, so anyway, welcome to the show. You can find us at grownuphumans.com and at epicastnetwork.com/grownuphumans and on all of your favorite podcasting apps and things like that. Well, while you're on those apps, make sure to rate and review our show if you would like, because we appreciate it. It helps our visibility, helps the podcast, and that'd be sweet. So,
Even if you don't want to do it, just do it. Come on.
yeah, just go ahead and do it.
Just do it. What do you do? What are you doing right now? This second.
Do it. Do you remember that Rockers One in Life episode with that was like the first one with the vacuum cleaners? Remember the big vacuum cleaner?
Yeah.
And at the end of the episode, everyone is inside one of those vacuum cleaners, so they all went on a rampage. Yeah. And like everyone has the same channel on for some reason. It's all the same infomercial. And at the end of the episode, it's kind of creepy. It's a woman's voice just going, "Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it." Anyway, rate and review the podcast. Do it. Go to Southside Comics at 1931 East Carson Street. Say hello to Dan. Get some comic books. Tell him we sent you, and he will acknowledge that you said that. I was going to say, like, there's no like deal or
your
anything.
presence.
Yeah.
You can't. You don't get anything special. It's just like he'll be
I
like.
feel like as
"All
you were
right."
saying that, you're realizing like there's no deal at the end of this.
I was kind of.
If he's feeling generous, he might toss you like a Diet Dr. Pepper.
There you go. Yeah. Ask him for a free drink. You may or may not get it.
Yeah.
But you'll never know until.
Yes.
Exactly.
Until you do it.
Yeah. So go to radicaltrivia.com for all your trivia needs, live trivia shows. It's a lot of fun. That's not a good description of what I do, but go there and find the show and go. It's the second podcast, so we're all like a little bit fucked up. And check out Midnight Rose. We're about to. Well, at this point, we probably would have already played a show.
We would have already done the show.
Okay, so yeah, just go to check out our music.
It's fucking rad, though. That show is badass.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers for all of those that are now departed, though.
Yeah. I didn't see that coming.
It got out of control.
Yeah.
I never thought. I mean, Jared always talked about this one chord that could shatter people's brains, and I never believed it. And don't you know, he got up there, those sweet ass pants he was wearing, and that cool guitar pick, and he played that chord. He killed like 7 people. He's found innocent though, because they said
Because the court
was rock
decided
and
less
roll.
than a week from when the incident happened.
Yeah, he was innocent. It was because
We could never try the murder riff until I fixed that double neck guitar, but I finally fixed it. So
Yeah.
There it is.
we needed 2 people at once on the same guitar to do the murder riff. So
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that was it. It was sweet though. It was sweet. I'm glad I got to see it and hear it.
yeah, I'm glad you didn't die either.
It's
Me
a good thing-
too.
well, yeah, it's a good thing we were wearing your earplugs.
Yeah, and I'd been working out my ears for weeks prior to that
Right.
to
build
gain
up a
control.
tolerance.
Yeah.
So, well, you were just listening to each individual note in the chord.
Yeah.
Like at a high volume every day.
Yep.
In succession. So that it was kind of like you were arpeggiating it. So it wasn't the full death chord at once.
No.
Yeah.
You heard, but you definitely heard all
That
the
just
notes.
makes you sick if you just
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But you do like you work up to it.
Yeah. So that was cool though. That was cool for everybody who lived.
Yeah.
It was just people with pussy ears who died.
I just
got
thought
rid
of a
of the
person who has vaginas for ears. That's a terrifying thought.
There's definitely going to be a mass shooting or like something horrible that happens the night before Thanksgiving. We're not going to be able to air this.
We'll have to delay it by like a month, just like the Punisher.
Oh, which is what we're going to talk about right now. So we just watch that shit. Yeah, so we just watched the first episode of Netflix's The Punisher, which came out a couple days ago. And let's why don't we start off with a thumbs up, thumbs down, Chris? Say thumbs up or thumbs down. Don't literally do that because people can't see that.
Stop doing your thumb, Chris. No, people can't see it. Stop.
What about this way? Can people see it this way?
No.
Oh.
No, take it out of your ass.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I'm just going to
I was
describe it.
wondering why you were preparing, like taking your pants off as I was speaking just now.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's up there.
All right, well, we all know Chris's vote now.
Yeah.
I give it 2 thumbs way up someone's ass. It's fine.
Specifically his. Okay. J-Man?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, Greg?
Solid. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of promise.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I liked it.
I mean, this was good, and there's lots of promise for the future
Sure,
episodes.
sure.
Yeah, the
have yet to
overall
watch.
conflict isn't even presented yet. Like, this is just prologue
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
And it gave you exactly what you wanted.
Oh,
It gave
yeah.
me exact. Fucking smash that dude's head. Like the fucking annoying ass dickhead smash his head with the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now that we've seen that, I just had an idea. Let's ask. I want. What do you guys want from this show? Now that you've seen like got a little taste, because from what it whet my appetite for things like really creative ways of killing people.
Yes.
Because we haven't Netflix can do whatever they want, obviously, and with the Marvel shows, they've kind of, with the exception of Daredevil, season 2 with the Punisher, he killed people in pretty fucked up ways. But like, you didn't really see a whole lot of that in the other shows. But like with this one, they can go 100%, and I'm ready for like some really fucked up, stuff like that.
I want to see Frank Castle find love again. That's me. Oh, wait. Or maybe more on that later.
It sounds like you wrote every Batman movie before the Nolan ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what are women? What are women going to? There needs to be a love story because women aren't going to be interested in this if there isn't.
See, like the thing that I don't want out of it though is just like more of essentially just like a death jerk off. You
Yeah.
know, like just like a murder. Like okay, yeah, like you're doing this thing. Like I would like to see.
Wait, you do not want to see that?
No, I don't want to see that. I
Okay.
don't want to see just like oh, okay, in this episode he kills 40 people.
Oh no, that's not. I don't want to see that. No.
Well, I didn't want it to be just that. Like,
Right, sure.
I love seeing that, but
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like you want it to have more substance than something so easy.
Yeah.
Right.
So easy to decide. Like that's the first thing that everyone's going to expect.
Yeah.
And you don't want to like. like we could say what we want out of it, but that really, like, half of that means like what we expect out of it, and you're really satisfied when you get what you're not expecting.
Yeah.
What you didn't even know you wanted, I guess.
Right.
I think that's what you like. Partially what you mean by
No, that's exactly it. Like, I would like something, because since Jessica Jones, I personally haven't seen anything like from, Daredevil was all right, and fucking Luke Cage was Nick Cage was Luke Cage was good, but that I felt like that
I couldn't even finish it.
that we know.
Yeah.
But like Jessica Jones just nailed it. I felt like with depth and action and like intelligent plots, and I would like to, because it would be so easy with Punisher to just take a direction where it's like, oh yeah, well guess what? Like he killed all of these mobsters who had something to do with his family, but now there's still more mobsters, so we have to kill more, making it interesting or compelling. I don't know how they would do it. Like, I don't have an idea of what they could do, but I'm confident based on the people involved in Jessica Jones that there is a way they could make it so that it's not just Rambo 5.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I watched some of the second episode. I'm not finished with it yet, but they kind of presented what, like, a little bit of this, what's going on with the story, and I think that that you're gonna get something that's like not your, just like a killing spree. Because like I think Frank in this one, obviously, like even in Daredevil, I think they managed to humanize him a lot. Like especially when he's talking about like his family whenever they're in the graveyard, like right after like that's that's
Oh yeah, that was some of the best acting I saw on a TV show.
Oh yeah,
it was.
Yeah. So I'm they already made Frank like a character that you can actually relate to a little bit, as a human being, because that's never happened with the Punisher before. It's like the Dolph Lundgren one, definitely not. The Thomas Jane one, like maybe like a little bit, but like not really. And then the fucking Warzone one with
not at all.
The person, the woman who directed that, she said she was like, the reason why I went this so over the top is because I didn't know how to make it not that without it being potentially like just offensive or like just not. I don't know. Like insensitive to violence.
Yeah.
Because it's I was reading an article about this. Like it is really easy to go with the Punisher and be like, we have all these mass shootings and stuff. Like, do we even want to like have a character that does this sort of thing? And it's like real easy to be like, no, we don't. No one wants to think any more about that than we already have to. But to humanize him as someone who's probably done terrible things in the name of his country or something, and then his family and stuff. Like, I think Frank is a really interesting person.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things about him, but the thing that like his most prominent attribute, like as portrayed as a character, is this person who just fucking murks people,
right? Which
is cool whenever it's done in like inside of like the comic books where it's like less. And he's interacting with other superheroes, and so there's like that excitement, and that's kind of neat. But for I don't know how many episodes there are, 10?
Yeah.
Like 10 hours of, TV, it would get tired.
Well, yeah.
It would get really tired.
Is there 10 or 13?
I'm not sure. I didn't look.
I just guessed because I thought they were all somewhere around 10.
I think they're all 13. Like every single one.
Yeah, I think it might actually. Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think that the questions that I want to see that I like to ask about the Punisher is like, is this a guy who's like, could anybody be this person who, like, if pushed so far, you could just become like a fucking psycho or not a psycho, but like somebody who has just no regard for, who can do these sort of monstrous things, or is he himself like, because he's a military guy, like is he the sort of person that went into like a violent profession because he is himself at his core like a violent individual?
I don't think he is, though, because you see it in the flashbacks where he is so in love with his family and with his daughter and his
I think that people can be in love.
I've always seen it as like he was born the person he is sort of right now, and then he found his family, and that's sort of like maybe I'm not a bad person. And then they died, and then he was like, just went for it hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
before he was in the military and did all kinds of horrible shit.
Yeah.
But then he like turned his life around,
Yeah.
and then it just got way worse.
Yeah. There's an interesting there's a book it's actually out right now. It's called Punisher The Platoon, and the synopsis is that there's a guy who's doing a book about the Punisher, and this is the comic book version of the Punisher. So he was a Vietnam veteran, and he was at Khe Sanh, or he was like one hill over or something. Anyway, so this guy's interviewing members of his squad and telling them this like what he's found out without their help, and they're kind of like filling in this story. And a lot of them say like when then it flashes back and shows Frank like just like showing up as a commanding officer. I think he's a lieutenant. Anyway, he shows up and he has no experience, and they say like this dude walked on the bat into our company, and even though he had no field experience, he already somehow was good at this job, and like his first battle he just fucking like naturally kind of just was good at killing people. And I don't know that I think Jared might be onto something where it's like I think he's just like the kind of person that might be just a savage dude, but it's an interesting question.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's an interesting question, just objectively too. Like,
Yeah,
what are you capable of? What are the royal you? What are you capable of?
Yeah,
Because I was watching that today, the episode, just before we started recording, and I was like, why the fuck doesn't he just kill himself?
right.
You know what I mean? Like, what drives him to like? So he's killed everybody who had anything to do with his like the murder of his family. He's so fucked up. He can't even sleep. Like, and he seems like he has no interest or hope or belief that like these support groups can help him, or it doesn't seem like he's actively seeking out like how can I get through this.
Right.
Like, why? I mean, that's a pretty intense reality to wake up in.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, I just thought of one thing to answer that, like, why doesn't he kill himself? What does he have to live for? And simultaneously answering, what do I want to see? I want to see him go head to head with Wilson Fisk. Be just like Juggernaut and Punisher.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I mean, but he would whoop his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I still want to see it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even he would whoop Wilson Fisk's ass.
Yeah.
No, I think so too.
Yeah. I mean, he can, like, because Wilson Fisk, I mean, though he is like a powerful individual, and he's like a little bit older, and also, like, he just, in that first episode, like, murked 3 dudes who, 2 of them were armed with guns, and he just had a hammer, and they're in way better shape than Wilson Fisk is.
Yeah.
Like these are construction workers. Right. So, like, these guys obviously do hard labor.
I know
all
in
day.
the comics, though, like, Wilson Fisk is supposed to be, like, he looks like he's, like, very out of shape, but he was, like, at one time, like this, like a wrestler or something. And,
Yeah,
like, he's
that's-
very well trained, and he has, like, he's one of those guys that looks like almost like a strong man.
Right.
Like the strongman
He's, like, really
competition
strong.
guys they don't look very in shape because they're not cut or anything, but they're just like animals.
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to be that in the books.
Yeah,
He's supposed
that's
to have
true.
like almost superhuman strength and
Yeah.
stuff.
Which
And-
doesn't necessarily equip you very well for fighting.
True.
Yeah.
But-
But like the way he fights in the books and stuff is he's just brutal as fuck.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and they talk about in Daredevil, all of his suits are lined with whatever Daredevil's costume is made of.
Oh,
So he's like armored all the time too. I don't know.
That helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes it tougher for
Someone
Punisher to just shoot him.
Right.
He-
Yeah. But yeah, I would enjoy watching because that would be a brutal fucking fight. The
Yeah.
Punisher, well, especially if Punisher's like unarmed Punisher,
Yeah.
where it's just like a fist fight between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like him trying not to get crushed and then like just not being. Yeah, that'd be great. What else? I don't know. What do you want to see, Chris?
I want it to end fast. That's a compliment. I want it to like. I don't want it to go beyond 2 seasons. Here's what I want to. What I would, and I only saw this episode, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I would rather it be like a Monster of the Week type thing, where we have where the Punisher solves all the moral dilemmas of the other people in the Marvel universe, like
By shooting them?
Well, think of it like this way, okay? This is my idea. And I'm just going to go with a broad spectrum of things, okay? But, like, Tony Stark has an issue where his, like, competitor is found doing something, and legally he can't do anything about it. Like, child sex. Let's say that.
Okay.
So it's Tony Stark.
It's a hot topic right now.
Yeah, it is. Tony
Nobody
Stark
likes that.
figures it out. One of his main competitors is having sex with children. All right, he can't do anything about it. Or maybe like somebody that like works with one of his companies or something. Mm-hmm. And he can only do so much morally. And the Punisher comes in and is like, you know what? I don't have any morals about this. I'm just going to kill this guy. And like we have maybe between 10 and 20 small episodes like that where he's taking out those moral dilemmas for the other characters. So everyone's like, this is a necessary evil, but we feel worse and worse about using this guy. And it ends real fast because you can't prolong that. You can't. You don't get 10 seasons out of that.
I don't think I want that. That sounds depressing.
Yeah, it's the Punisher.
That sounds really... But the Punisher doesn't have to be depressing. Like,
really? Because the way this is starting, I'm feeling that it's not too far off base for what I want out of him.
Well, no,
that was not an uplifting first episode.
Well, no, of course not. But I think that what I would like to see, like, you know, in a Punisher show is like the fact that like Frank is never, I don't know, he's never too far gone for you to stop asking the question like, is this guy still like a human being? You know, like I don't want to see him become like a complete and total monster because like like for example in this episode he didn't have to go and like ice all those gangster guys, right? Like,
yeah, he didn't have to.
Because that, like, he could have just let that kid, whatever, in the wind, and like, he could have just been defending himself, which he did not do, because like those guys were threatening him directly.
See, I want the Punisher to be the Hound. That's what I want, like the story arc of the Punisher to be. I want him to be like a shit that I know is a necessary evil, and sometimes I cheer for him, but ultimately I'm like, I don't know if you deserve to live or die.
But the Hound was kind of a bitch too, because like he would just do nasty shit just because he was told.
The Hound is evil in the way that like a lot of Nazis are evil. It's like, oh,
right.
They're just following orders. Okay, that's not an excuse at all.
Yeah,
yeah, and that's kind of how I want the Punisher to be.
No, that's worse.
Yeah,
that's way worse.
Like, I hate that idea.
Yeah, that I feel like there's it's not defensible. Like guilt by inaction is not a defensible position.
I agree with you on that. I mean, the moral conflict is more what I'm conveying to, not the actual conflict. I don't want it to be a cookie cutter thing.
Okay.
But the moral dilemma of them, where there's this just horrible gray area where you agree with a side of this character you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how I want my Punisher to be, and
yeah, I think that's how he has to be because he's presumably the good guy in most of the stories.
Yeah,
and you want the good guy to sort of. You want to like the good guy, the hero, your protagonist.
I would love to see a movie where I don't want to agree with the good guy, but like I know I have to, because that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it happens on TV. It's called Monk.
You're right.
Because everyone's like, we hate this man, but he is always right.
Is that the only time that's ever happened?
It might be. I'm not sure. Maybe Columbo. Like nobody ever likes Columbo. He's an asshole too.
You're right. Columbo sucks.
There was that the coworker on Dexter, the black guy, who was. I only saw the first episode.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, I think he I forget what Dexter did. Like he said something nice to the guy, like oh, I there's some leftover donuts in the box. And he's like, fuck you. It's okay.
I guess the original of this, well, not the original, but like one of the main people is what's his name in The Big Lebowski? Walter.
Oh, Walter.
Yeah, you're not wrong, man. You're just an asshole.
Yeah, that's a good way to sum that up. You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole. Yeah. Oh, what? I was just watching something. It was fuck. What show was it? It was it might have been Shameless. I think it was like Frank. Someone was talking. I think it was what's her name? Fiona was talking to Frank, and she's like, "Yeah, Frank. Even when you're right, you're such a fucking asshole that no one wants to admit that you're right."
That seems right. Yeah, that seems about right for that character.
Yeah.
I can't get into that show.
No, fuck that shit.
I'm all caught up. I watched the whole thing like as I was playing Minecraft for like a couple weeks.
I think that's probably the only way to do it. Like you can't be totally invested in that.
No,
I
it's
fucking watched
depressing.
like I don't know an episode or two, and I was like, "Fuck this! This is so fucking stupid. This is the dumb shit that people are like ingesting en masse, and hopefully they're doing it while they're playing Minecraft. Because like if I believe that you devoted 100% of your attention to this fucking show, it's like Jesus Christ, it's so bad." Oh, it's a poor girl. She meets a rich guy. Oh, he's not a rich guy. He actually steals cars. Oh, my dad. He's an alcoholic. I don't know, man. It's just bad.
I
hate that show.
No, I don't. I'm not sure how I feel about it honestly, because like sometimes you just like, I say to myself like, well, why do I continue to watch this? These people just keep disappointing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're a little harsh on it. I mean, I've seen probably 3-4 episodes, which sounds a little more like the show's done well. I think it's written. It's just like I cringe. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me. That's why I can't watch it.
There's like, is it like a relatable conflict? Is it? Like
I think the
good
poorer you are, the
characters?
more relatable it is.
Probably. Also, can we just review it and say he just said that you were being too critical? So you might want to go home and just think about your life. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand if you have to leave right now.
I said that you're being too critical about something.
It's just so bad. Like I don't know. I grew up pretty poor. You know, I wasn't
We all
fucking
did.
like. I wasn't dirt poor in Boston or wherever the fuck they are.
Yeah.
You know, like raising my 6 siblings, which like
I
doesn't
wasn't
really.
dirt poor in Rhode Island.
Yeah. Like, is that where they're in Boston? Right?
Yeah.
No, because nobody's poor in Rhode Island.
Oh.
Yeah, there aren't enough people for that.
No, there's not enough people to be for
You're
poor
pushed
people
out.
to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to Newport. I mean,
If you had a homeless person in Rhode Island, it would throw off all their statistics by a lot.
Yeah. The median income would go down by whatever $15,000.
Yeah.
which somebody would give back to them through charity. don't ruin our median.
But that's I think that's a worthwhile question whenever you see like masses of people like consuming something like Shameless for how many years? 7 years?
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a
like
lot.
what is it about this that like is drawing people back in?
I'll tell you what it is right now. It is on Netflix.
Yeah. It doesn't it's not it's a network, it's a Netflix original.
No. It's Showtime. Yeah.
Showtime. Like, because I feel like there's like some level of like, well, Game of Thrones. That makes sense, right? It's a series of novels. It's got fantasy. It's got like, all of these components. Like,
I don't know. That one actually doesn't make Shameless makes more sense to me than Game of Thrones does, because like
I agree.
That's a harder sell. I think it's like this has dragons and stuff like that, and most people be like, oh, I'm not really like a dragon person, but.
Yeah, the people who don't watch it are just so prejudiced against just the whole idea of like medieval dragony shit. Fuck that.
Yeah.
They won't even touch it.
but it makes sense because there's a genre of books, right? That is like fantasy, and this fits within the realm of fantasy. Shameless. There's not a genre of books that is like shitty fucking fake problems that don't actually ever happen. Like nothing pans out in the real world like this.
See, I disagree, because sometimes like whenever they so when I hear Frank go on a rant or something like that, and I've watched the UK one too, and that one actually is less depressing than the American one. Which is the opposite of usually how it is whenever they remake a UK show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frank, whenever he goes off on like I hear occasionally sometimes people talking like that, where they're like, hey, well, that's what's wrong with this country, this and that, and you're like, dude, you're an asshole, and you're just projecting all the things that you're not satisfied with about your life onto like the country and everybody else.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I guess what I'm saying is, yes, you're right. But I feel like that show is like a very like minuscule step, like a small step away from just reality TV. It's reality TV with a script, which, I mean, reality TV also has a script, but it's just like, it's just It's garbage with like
It should-
with like attractive. Okay, and also like what did they find like the most attractive poor people? You know, who are like. I don't know. Like you don't go through that much shit and stay that hot.
That's true. A lot of them are too attractive to be as poor
Yeah.
as they are. Especially what's her face? Fiona.
Yeah, the oldest
Emmy
sister.
Rossum. Yeah,
yeah.
she's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like get the fuck out of here.
She's beautiful. But like she's like so good looking that like it's not realistic that she should be in that position ever.
Right.
Like as soon as she became like I don't know 16 or whatever, someone would have been like, "Hey, you're poor. Why don't you do like this thing? It'll make you a ton of money because you're attractive. You have no other options."
Yeah, you're super hot. You want to be a model? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I'll give it a shot. Oh, you just got $500 for the day. I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah, like what? Like think for everyone here and everyone listening. Think about the last time you saw a real person who was clearly not doing well in life, but like super attractive.
Yeah. It doesn't happen.
It almost never happens.
It doesn't happen because one of two things: you either get the fuck out of there, or life beats you down. Like, and you're not super hot.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of people who are like, "There's a time in life when you were really attractive."
Yeah.
But ever since you existed through these 26 years, super poor, now you look like you're fucking 50.
Yeah.
I can think of one person who was super poor and crazy attractive. And I was very good friends with this person.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Is this person a female?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if it's a guy, that doesn't count.
No. Very poor. She was super attractive. And this guy came to her and was like, "Hey, you should obviously be modeling or something." This was 4th grade.
Okay. That's weird.
Yeah, so she's been gone since the 5th grade. She's a model in L.A. So
Okay, so you're just supporting everything we just said.
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
you were saying like you know of a person who has continued to be poor and attractive.
Oh no! It's just
okay.
she was poor in 4th grade, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like by 5th grade, no, she was in L.A.
And that is why Shameless is bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, I was supporting
like,
everything
what
you
did
said.
people get out of it? What did people get out of it? I don't.
I honestly
because it's nice to think that you're being represented on television.
No. I disagree. This is the same reason why people watch a lot of shows about shitty people is because they want to make themselves feel better about their own lives.
Yeah, I guess.
We're both
that's
right.
part of it.
We're both right.
Yeah. It's like Trailer Park Boys. Like part of it's like, oh my god, they only have like $2 and they're trying to get a pepperoni and a bottle of whiskey. Like, man, I could get a pepperoni and a bottle of whiskey any day of the week. These poor motherfuckers are doing poorly.
See, the part of like Trailer Park Boys that makes me laugh is like thinking about being like a shitty poor kid,
Right,
And
yeah.
like being like, I have $2. I want to get pepperoni and some Pepsi.
Yeah, keep using that. Keep using that.
Like,
Yeah, but there is a weird like because you're able to like wax nostalgic in like a positive way about that because you're not in that situation now.
right.
If you were still that poor, you'd be like, "Yep, well, I'm not watching this show anymore. That's real."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you can be like, "Oh man, that's funny. They've only got $2, fucking pepperoni." And,
You'd be like, damn, that pepperoni looks good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, or and you might go to the store and get a fucking cock of pepperoni, and think to yourself, yeah, I bought that real easy. Rick is a piece of shit.
I got 3 cocks of pepperoni and 2 bottles of whiskey.
One of my favorite moments is whenever fucking I think Ray. So Leahy's daughter goes to get him some Cox pepperoni, and she brings them back, and then I think Ray eats them, and he's like, "Well, Ray, I hope you're happy. Now I'm gonna have to send her back to the store, and that's gonna come out of her pocket. You know that's you should feel pretty bad about this."
Yeah. Because he doesn't have more money for those couple cars.
I just want to say for the record,
Yeah, we know you don't like Trailer Park Boys. Chris doesn't like Trailer Park Boys. Just so everyone listening knows that. Chris doesn't think Trailer Park Boys is funny. He doesn't fucking get it. He thinks we're all playing a joke on him. Is that what you're going to say?
yeah,
I can't believe it's so weird that you don't.
no,
Okay.
I
It's okay.
still think that this is a big joke.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, whatever.
And who doesn't think it's a joke? Rush, they were on there.
Oh yeah, Rush was on there.
Yeah, I never saw it, but that's what I was told.
Yeah.
That's a good episode. I just watched that one not too long ago. Anyway, The Punisher. What else? Any
I mean,
other thoughts?
one of the big draws to The Punisher over, I think, almost anything else you can watch on Netflix, it's not Trailer Park Boys.
Oh,
Okay. I mean, that's...
I just had to get one in. You took the last one from me because you just stole my thunder, so I had to get that right in there.
Okay. That's
Anyways.
I get it.
But on a serious note, it's done in a different way, I think. Like, even than Daredevil. Daredevil is shot in a very, like, not David Lynch, but maybe like a Fincher type of way.
Okay.
Where it's darker, and I think that Punisher was done very well in that regard, where it's... Because this is supposed to be the darkest story we have.
Have they said that?
I mean,
I would
what
assume.
is a darker character?
Jessica Jones.
Yeah, that's a
sure.
rape story. That's
Yeah.
a rape survivor story. That one's really fucking dark.
Yeah.
That one asks
Yeah.
some that one asks the hardest questions. That one fucking tries at one point to get you to sympathize with someone who is a definite rapist.
You're right.
Like Jessica Jones goes far over the line without it really becoming like, whoa, you know?
it's a pretty deep topical,
Yeah.
exploration.
Yeah.
And because, like, everybody talks about, like, if somebody did that to my family, I'd fucking kill them. And it's like, well, with the, greater than 60% of the women in this country having been assaulted sexually at some point in their lives. Mm-hmm. And nobody's like, if somebody's sexually it's like we all say that, but then, like, nobody talks about it. It gets hushed up. I mean, I feel like Jessica Jones was, like,
Yeah.
haunt, like, I don't know, that like shook me to my core. The Punisher is like, it's a revenge story. It's good. And
Well, what I liked about it is they copped off the actual revenge part of the story, like right there, first episode. Like, hey, this is like in the first 30 seconds. Like, this is the last guy from all those guys that had his family killed. This is like that. He says, like, I'm the last one.
oh,
he's
right,
dead.
right, yeah,
Like, and he fucking burns the symbol,
yeah.
the skull. So like, we start off at the end of the revenge story.
I like that too because at some point he's going to get up better. He's going to get something cooler to wear.
I'm wondering how long, because that would look like a leather vest, man. That looked like it was going to take. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you.
I was thinking that too when he burned it. Yeah.
It was some
also,
kind of tactical
No,
thing.
that was a bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
I agree. I've been thinking about it. Jess Jones is that's a darker one. It is. I was thinking with like this one, it was the tone was darker. I feel just like the way they told the story and everything with Jess Jones, it didn't feel as dark as as the direction and everything was with Punisher.
I think I know what you mean. Like when she's walking down the sidewalk talking to Trish and drinking coffee. Spiked coffee, but still. Just like it has
it's a little bit light, yeah, and not the subject matter, but the actual like tonality, the direction, the production. It feels lighter than the way that they have been. I mean, just the first episode so far of The Punisher.
Yeah, and any of the, because there were like a couple humorous moments in this, but they weren't jokey at all. Like they weren't jokes. It was some dark humor, like the whenever the Mexican guy says the Punisher can't get me, I'm in Mexico, and then he fucking shoots him from America.
El Paso, USA.
That was so good.
Yeah.
As soon as I seen that, I was like, "Oh shit!
Yeah.
God damn, that was so good. That's so clever."
Yeah, it's a clever bit of it's a bit of wit, I think, in the writing. It's not necessarily a joke, but it's witty.
It's nothing over the top like Barry Flash saying like, "Oh, I'm a goofy guy."
What about my blood sugar?
Yeah.
Oh God! Ah!
Sorry, just to brief relapse. Brief.
So just so everybody knows, after we did the previous episode with Justice League, we continued to talk about Justice League for like another half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
It sucks!
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. Oh, man.
It doesn't suck. Eugenics.
Oh, Eugenic, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, let's...
That was the joke.
Nice.
See, eugenics. Right.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay, I
that's
got it.
funny.
That was,
But Eugenic is the comic we're talking about.
yes. Yeah, so, yeah, we'll get into Eugenic right now. Greg, you want to read off the titles? And
Certainly. Yes, Eugenic. This is a Boom Studios comic, 1 of 3. Credits include written by James Tynion IV, Tynion, Eric Eryk. It was illustrated by Eric Donovan. Colors by D. Cunniff, Cunniffe. Letters by Jim Campbell. Anyway, it's... and I'm going to pass it off to somebody else now.
okay, so, Dan, do you want to... Do you want to... Or, Jer?
Sure.
Hey, man? Who wants to go?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, cool. There you go.
So I just got done talking about this with Chris. So it's a pretty relatively straightforward story. In the not too distant future, 2022, there's a virus that starts in the southern U.S. in the Mississippi Delta, and it's kind of like reminiscent of the Black Plague. It kills off like a reasonable margin of the world's population. The ones who are left who haven't died or never exhibited symptoms of the disease, who are just simply carriers, they can't have children. They're all stillborn. During this period, there was a young scientist, geneticist, who came up with an inoculation,
Vaccine.
Vaccine, yes. And so people stopped dying, but the problem was when they started having children, they were these crazy... They had like huge, very pronounced mouths. And did I leave something out?
No, so they're all like kind of wildly deformed. But basically, people are after the inoculation of the vaccine, people are trying to have children again,
And for the first time in 2 years,
right?
These people are having children,
Right.
And there's been 50 so far at the
Yeah.
point you read about in the book.
Yeah. So when the first child is born, it comes out and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And it's this freakishly deformed kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deformed in air quotes.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Very
very prominent mouths, and if you saw, they would look like a monster. I guess.
Yeah.
Their
essentially.
facial features are all displaced. They're all different.
Yeah.
Eyes in different places and mouths in different places.
Yeah.
And so,
But like structurally, the rest of their bodies are fine.
right.
They don't have like extra arms.
Yeah. I was right. So the mouth is above the eyes and nose. The mouth is
In
on
this
top.
one.
Yeah, in the first baby's.
right.
Yeah,
You're
the first baby's mouth is above their rest of their face.
Right.
Forehead, mouth, pretty much.
And so what you see in the book is they're calling together because the vaccine was a success. People aren't dying anymore. But now that the first children are being born, and there's been 50, like I said so far, they're calling together the scientist, the epidemiologist or whatever, who created this vaccine, called a conference with everybody involved in this company, this lab, to talk about what's going on and how how they're gonna, I guess, these people think how they're going to like quell this situation or remedy it. And what happens is, he said that this is not a side effect; it was the intended effect. And the one part for me that was striking was he was like, well, I was in the lab coming up with this vaccine, and I was faced with the question, if I succeed with this vaccine, then I get us back to the same shitty place that we started from, which is, essentially where we are now. Fucking like racism and homophobia and like fear
They
of
said
other
hobo.
Yeah, that's the fear of hobos for those of you out there listening.
homophobia. Yeah, well, the gays can get married now, so there's not a problem.
Right.
Everybody
right.
likes gays.
We
It's
don't
the
need any more.
hobos.
We don't need any more hobos.
Yeah,
Right.
we the hobos are the only threat left.
I hate hobos. It's not a movie.
So he was like, so I had the decision. I could either do that, or I can make people smarter and stronger and need less sleep and need less food, and also give them no physical attributes that you could discriminate against. And what he did was created these crazy looking, I mean, otherwise like very like athletic, intelligent individuals, but their faces were all configured in ways that would be.
You don't have to be sensitive to these people. They are not real.
But I feel like there are some people who are born with like mouths on the side of their faces. There are, for sure.
My first thought was like,
It's called a cleft lip.
No, like the ones where like you got like the teeth coming out of their cheek.
they're called sides and they're disgusting.
I've seen pictures of that, like in medical
Sounds like
journals.
something,
or something.
somebody
Yeah.
would call somebody in the 30s.
That's
Get out of here, you sidey.
Well, my
thanks, Greg.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
So-
Yeah, it's like a real thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, but he did it in a way that was intentional, and they were like, "What the fuck? You did this intentionally?" He was like, "Yeah, because like we as a human race are so shitty that we're not worth saving, essentially. But what we can do is start a new race of even more intelligent, more fit beings that aren't going to have this problem." And then everybody in the auditorium dies. He releases some sort of virus that just melts their skin off of them, including himself. So everybody who knows what's going on is dead.
yeah.
And
Probably the people that could maybe reverse it or
Right.
do
Yeah.
something about it are also dead. So it's
Right.
like now it's definitely going to be completely out of control.
Yeah. And then at the end of the book, it says the next book will be 200 years later. So,
Yeah.
So we're looking. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
These new
Me
society
too.
of weirdos.
There will
Yeah.
be 0 characters in there that look normal. In issue number 2.
I was thinking to myself whenever he said like there will be no more prejudice. I was like, yeah. Until the first person's like, hey, what the fuck is this side mouth guy doing? I'm a top mouth. I should get that job. Side
Yeah.
mouths aren't as smart as top mouths.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really. That's
yeah, they'll just be more finite with their bigotry.
that's
Yeah.
the big whoops that guy didn't even take into account.
You should have made everyone look exactly the same.
Yeah.
that would be
That's it. Just exactly the same.
Yeah, but if you just had like all of the mouths moving along, like I mean, just like degrees, several degrees over more, and so like you could never be like a full side mouth, you could never be a full front mouth. Like,
No, as long as there's one group of people that are like a little bit different than another group of people, as long as there are common traits, and unless all the traits are the same, someone's going to be like, no, fuck that guy. He looks a little bit different than me. I don't like him.
maybe not though, because he made them smarter.
That's that's a good point.
Like he made them smarter, and what's crazy is like we don't have a paradigm right now that exists where it's inclusive.
right.
As far back as written history, like all of our paradigms have been constructed around like exclusivity, and so for us, we think like, oh, well, regardless, like this will happen into like eternity. But we don't have any other way to really think about it.
Yeah.
You know, like because the history is full of people conquering, killing, enslaving other groups of people and categorizing groups of people just based on like some arbitrary physical attribute.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I don't even know what that world would look like. I can't fathom. Like
I just think there's a lot of great questions to ask about it. You know, like if everyone, let's say that the faces aren't a factor, but like even if some people are taller than other people, like that could be a thing. There, people. I'm like this sounds pessimistic, but I'm pretty sure that people will always, no matter as long as there are sentient creatures, and if there's a thing that's different than the thing that is thinking about the other thing, then I don't know.
I guess so. But there's a lot of conflicting theories like that just we evolved. Racism is like an evolutionary sort of trait in the way that the foreigner coming into your particular tribe could be a potential threat. That's
Right.
why you identifying them as being different and wanting to get away from them is important.
Right.
Which is why we killed all the Indians, because they were like, hey, white guys, come and hang out with us. We gave them all their fucking diseases.
Yeah.
Right.
And we wiped them out.
But that's like, I feel like those examples of the early colonial conquistador, like Cortez and Christopher Columbus and all these guys who came over, and there's that famous I think is a Christopher Columbus quote, who he said, "These are the most generous and hospitable people I've ever experienced in my entire life. With 75 men, I could conquer this entire land." Mm-hmm. Which kind of goes in the face of this idea that like different necessarily meant dangerous, and then there's this like evolutionary component of racism. To me, because I thought about this a lot, like just coming back from Colombia, I was in Colombia in Cartagena in particular, and that was one of the seats of the Inquisition in South America, and it made me think, like, what created this? So if the indigenous people here who were, aside from like the crazy Aztecs who were like going around like fucking murdering people to like blood sacrifices and shit like that.
Yeah.
But if people, like, what created this sense of like growth in the way that ultimately turned into capitalism, that went from, like kingdoms and to now, this democratic capitalism, whatever.
Well, the technology, I think, is like reading and writing.
Right? Like, was that the cause? And how the Western, like Europe, essentially like ushered in this age of technology. Technology not only allowed us to get to places that we had never been before, that we couldn't have gotten to otherwise, but then like enslaving them, murdering them. And all of us like are to some degree a product of that. Like,
I think I know what you mean, and it's the almost like you breed, like you can breed dogs to be more or less aggressive, and I think that they've even like after X number of generations they've bred like foxes to be more dog-like in their behavior. Like they just take the most docile ones, breed those, and so forth.
Right.
So I think that like there's probably you could probably look at people like that, just thinking like where most of or where a lot of the what are current day Americans came from in Europe, say English, and who are the now I'm not going to be claim to be completely knowledgeable about this, but I think that the people that are in current day England are Saxons that drove the then English to what is now Wales. So like that's like a more aggressive European tribe in a sense, and then like those people came over to here, conquered also like America in a sense. Like this, I'm speaking extremely generically, but that's has that strain just kind of like spread that much more to where like we think like America is now like kind of the shitty people, and I shouldn't say like America because, but like there's like that trend has spread probably like maybe from that, and it's just extended its reach into so many other countries by now.
Or more Americans say prone to not be as aggressive because they're all sitting at home eating McDonald's and being fat as fuck. Like a large portion of our country is overweight. So it's like, are those people now? Are they
right? But that aggression,
that.
that aggression, I don't feel like is subdued, as indicated by like the current state of politics and who we elected into our office. Because I mean, just because you're not acting on aggression doesn't mean that you're not aggressive.
Right.
So your aggression now isn't exhibited in like going out and conquering your neighbor's house and like taking his car. Now you're too fucking fat and stupid, too fat and dumb to even understand your aggression. So what do? You support politicians and policies that keep people where they should be. Keep the gays in their place and the Muslims in their place and the Mexicans and the black and blah 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 blah.
Well, that aggression, I think, like shows itself in other ways, whether it be in competitive sports or screwing over your coworker so that you get the promotion or something. I mean, I don't know,
right?
Like anything, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you look at the world and you look anywhere, or the majority of the world at this juncture has been touched by European expeditions, colonialism, whatever.
Yeah.
Or what originally started there. And those places aren't any better for it.
Right.
They're not anybody better for it. You know, I was listening to I forget who it was, but they were talking about when the Europeans were over here and there's this, you know, like westward expansion and or I guess post-colonialism, but anytime that these Europeans would get captured by Native Americans, and they weren't killed and they were kept for a handful of years, and then they were given the option to, like, you know, you can fuck off and go back to wherever you came from. The majority of them were like, no, or not the majority. A lot of them were like, no, we'll stick around here. Like,
Yeah.
we like this. Like, what's happening here, we'll stay here. And there's a ton of examples of that, and you can Google it for yourself and find out. But you don't find, like, the inverse of that. You don't find, like, like a bunch of accounts of Native Americans who were, like, kept and like, oh, we flourished here. I became a banker and had 3 hotels that my family inherited.
I imagine because they were murdered.
I don't think that every Native American who was captured was murdered.
No, probably not. But like, I don't know. Like, what? I'd like to know what did happen to. Because I mean, I can't imagine that the colonials treated them well at all. If they didn't kill them, which I'd be surprised if they didn't just kill all of them, or like most of them, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there are plenty of accounts though of people like colonists. And,
because Native Americans are
frontiersmen.
They didn't have like a concept of like the same concept of war as Europeans. It's like, oh, like sometimes like there's a thing that happens between like this group of people who live on this side of the river and the people who are like a little further down. But usually we're just like, I don't know, we'll like talk about it and figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't think we know nearly enough about this to be talking about this.
Yeah, I feel like you're
Yeah,
right.
it seems
like
yeah.
being very
yeah.
fake, 'cause
No,
I know that-
we are widely speculating.
Yeah, Native Americans definitely had like wars.
No,
and
they don't.
things and conflicting
They
tribes.
yeah, they did. Yeah.
No,
I'm just saying not like it's not like a whole European country against another one, like an organized.
That's a much different type of war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean like they didn't have war. Different kind
no,
of war.
I was just going to say, I feel uncomfortable talking about this. I don't know shit about Native Americans.
They got different wars. That's all I'm trying to say.
I know that disease killed a lot of them. It was like a huge percentage.
Yeah.
So it's not like we ran over here and was like, let's take them all out.
Well, it was
First of all,
like,
we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything.
Yeah,
of that
I got to
shit.
stop with that. Yeah.
But it was disease, and I don't know what margin of that was what percentage of the natives that were killed by disease were
It was huge.
diseases
It was like
that
70%
were
or something.
introduced
It was
by
gigantic.
like intentionally introduced by the occupying, like the whatever you want to call it, the colonists, the Americans, whoever, like introduced these diseases. I mean, there's very famously the incident where they gave I think it was the Cherokee, like tribes in the Cherokee Nation famously gave them blankets that were
smallpox blankets.
had smallpox and fucking decimated them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an accident.
That was
I think. I mean, like, I guess. Was
I don't
it?
think. No, I think it was
I think
was
that's
very intentional.
Oh, was
I think-
it?
Yeah,
Oh, shoot.
yeah.
Okay.
From what I understand,
Shows
that
a
was
little I
not.
know.
An
I don't know.
accident.
We
It
don't.
was-
I have no idea if that's
Well, that's the thing that's
If it's-
commonly said, but I don't actually know
if
the
it's
reality
wildly
of it.
speculated about. I don't know.
No, that's like a lot of Native Americans did die of smallpox. I'm not sure. I mean,
If
from
that's
whatever
why.
blankets. I'm not sure what the intent.
I just feel like
behind
they
the
wouldn't be that
blankets
crafty.
were.
I don't know.
These are white people we're talking about.
But who probably
Yeah.
also didn't understand disease quite as well as we do.
That's what I mean, though. Like, just because it was so long ago.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Like, they didn't have antiseptics. They what would they? I mean, did they? I mean, I don't think they did.
We're getting
Talking
into
about a
some
lot
real
of people
deep,
that like
wild
took a
speculation
shit,
here.
didn't wash their hands, and then ate a meal. Like, probably a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, oh, you're
That's what I
cold?
said,
Here's-
man. We shouldn't even be talking about this. None of us know nearly enough about any of this shit to be talking
I guess ultimately what I'm getting at is like it's frustrating the more that I think about it that we don't have a paradigm. It's like seeing a color and not having the fucking name for it.
Yeah.
So you can't even fucking see it. Is that our entire human history is about warring over and conquering people based on some perceived superficial difference.
Yeah.
And to try to think about something differently, we don't even have the words for we can talk about peace and harmony and everything, but it's like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Like for I think every 16, I forget what the number is, but like for every, I don't know, 16, 26, pick a fucking number, less than 50 days of war, there's been like one day of peace.
Yeah.
Historically.
Yeah.
That and that's probably a liberal estimate.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to me. It's crazy.
Like, I mean, I was just thinking, I don't know who won the World Series this year. I don't.
It's the Astros, man.
Who?
The Astros.
Is that a team?
What is that?
Houston. Well, presumably you know it's baseball.
Yeah, no, I know it's baseball. So that's. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you expect me to know anything about how we decimated these Indians when I don't even know who won America's pastime of whatever thing they won?
No, come on. I feel like America's real pastime is like America's Got Talent. I don't know shit
It's
about
baseball.
that.
It's baseball, dude.
Yeah, nobody likes baseball, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's a dead sport.
People
Yeah.
accept
He's
us.
right.
Like, nah.
Yeah, whatever reality show where people are singing and crying, like that's...
Yeah. That's
I mean,
America's
if
pastime.
anything,
Yeah.
it's football. I understand football.
I mean,
but-
that's true as well. Fucking football. Jesus Christ.
Also unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a shame. Can we, just real fast, going to an NFL game sucks ass.
Yeah.
It sucks ass. It's not worth it.
That's dumb.
I don't know why people do it. I'm sorry, if you like going to NFL games, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Like, it's cold outside. There's a break every 30 seconds because there's 1,000 commercials during the game. Everything is $1 million, and it's impossible to park. It's impossible to leave.
Why do they play it in the winter? I never understood.
Everyone
that.
around you is too drunk.
It's like
I don't know.
It's one of the on the grass, in the field kind of fucking sports. Why would you play it in
Because
winter?
it's tougher that way, obviously. I don't know.
Because they got to stagger. They got to stagger all the sports.
Yeah, that's probably. I mean, that's
Because
I'm-
baseball
that's
already
all, yeah.
had the summer.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's why.
baseball came first.
Dude,
and they-
you just answered my question.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
yeah,
it.
baseball came first. They called it.
Is there any time of year when there isn't a Pittsburgh sports team in season? There you got the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'll tell you what. There are 2 days in the normal calendar year that there is not a professional sport on television or being played.
Wow.
The day, the right before and right after the Major League Baseball All-Star break.
Okay.
Those are the only 2 days where there's not a professional sport playing. happening.
We should do a party on that like 2 day thing.
Yeah.
Damn.
No sports, all right.
Yeah, the no
Yeah,
sports.
because they have it on
Yep.
Christmas. Like Christmas Day, there are tens of thousands of people that go to, I was going to say Three River Stadium, to go to Heinz Field to watch the freaking Steelers play a game. Instead of like spending the day with your families or whatever, if you, like who you see maybe once a year, you could go see a bunch of strangers
A bunch
play a
of
game with
millionaires.
each other. Yeah, with a bunch of other people you don't care about. Like doing something, you're not even doing anything. You're just sitting there in the cold in a big open area. It's like that's got to suck.
Yeah. It's
But-
like you're personally playing.
Yeah, there's nothing about that. You're paying like more than $100 to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Do they like close? Do they use like enclosed areas for a lot of that stuff?
No,
It's just
in
open
fact,
air.
they specifically built Heinz Field to be open on one end, so it's a fucking wind tunnel. It's awful when it's cold outside.
It faces the river.
Yeah, it faces the river, so you get all the wind from the river sweeping right across your ass.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's terrible. Don't do it. The only way, honestly, the only way to get through it, and I've done this with Chris many times, is to get drunk as fuck
Yeah.
and just sit there and just hope that you're too drunk to notice how fucking cold
And
it is
hope
outside.
that you can drink yourself as dumb as the people around you. Good fucking luck if you're sitting at this table.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're surrounded by fucking morons.
Yeah, for sure.
I will
Yeah.
say this: I have accepted a free ticket on a couple of occasions to go to a Steelers game. Like I've just lucked into, and I do it. I shouldn't say lucked into because it's still like there's like a little bit of self-loathing that comes along with that.
Yeah, like, I guess I'll go.
Because like, I'm there and I'm like, well, okay, at least I'll remember this day. Where like a month from now, I won't remember what else I did on this Sunday or whatever.
That's fair.
And but you're there and you're like, I guess it's kind of like a reality check a little bit. You know what it is? It's like watching the what was it? Shameless.
Yeah.
Okay, where you're watching, like, okay, this isn't real. And at least I'm way better than all of these people that I'm seeing right now. And I'm there with 50,000 other people, and I'm like, at least I'm not that dumb.
Yeah.
At least, well, I mean, I guess there I am sitting there, but like, at least I didn't pay to sit in this seat like all these other assholes.
Yeah.
At least I don't do this on a regular basis. It's kind of like maybe you drink yourself into oblivion and then have a hangover the next day, so that you then appreciate all the days that you're not sick out of your mind. Maybe that's it.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like in my life, the people who I've looked up to most were like these like brilliant thinkers and different mentors that a couple of mentors I had in college, and just people I met along the way who were, I'm like, fuck, man, you're brilliant, you're thoughtful, you're somebody who I look up to. Not one of them were into fucking sports. Not a single fucking one of them. There wasn't one person that was like, you know what? I love X sport. And it's like, yeah. And could it be like some like confirmation bias that like the people I'm drawn to, who I look up to, share similar qualities to me, and so like that's why I look up to, I don't know. But I'm saying the smartest people that I've met in my entire life were not like,
right.
Yo, Steelers, terrible child this Sunday.
Let's say maybe a little more accurately, like or specifically like into sports,
right?
Because it's like, I mean, I think there are like, especially sports that aren't baseball, football, or hockey, or I guess basketball too. Like any of those major sports, like there's a lot of people who are like into those. Like, say if somebody's like really into tennis, it's like that's kind of like that's a different thing, because tennis isn't like a. Like, I like volleyball a lot. It's like there's not this huge, rabid volleyball fan base. It's like, oh, no, that's like you probably don't like that unless you've played it yourself.
I was going to say that exact thing. Like, if you,
Yeah,
right.
That's a way to put it.
So, I think it's a different thing. That's more of like if you're into a thing and you're watching other people do it, then you know a lot about it. Then you can appreciate what they're doing and like really get something out of it. But I think there's a lot of people who like even don't know much about football, and they're just like, yeah, football, fucking, what happened? Oh, we won? Cool, yeah, I like being in a group.
Like how all of the people with like football jerseys, like Steeler jerseys, who don't know who fucking throws the goddamn ball or catches it or kicks it or runs with it or whatever. Block somebody who's trying to get to it.
I would say that at least most of us have probably grew up in at some point growing up, like we're in a room full of other like not other like when you're a kid in a room full of adults, and some of those adults are just like watching the game and don't really know what's going on, but they're just like, it's like the neighborhood thing to do or something, or like your parents' friends thing to do. So like there's got to be one adult who's sitting there like, yeah, and like cheering, and they don't really know what's going on. They just are there because their friends are there. It
just registered to me that I feel terrible because Chris is a brilliant man, and he loves sports, at least to like some degree.
I've stayed pretty quiet.
Fuck him, he's a piece of shit.
And Chris is like, I mean, he's at least in the upper echelon of your smart friends, if you're listening.
Have you noticed how many things he mispronounces all the time, though?
But that's because
he likes sports.
But you know how there's
nobody knows how to say Gal Gadot.
So these are not universals, but these are. You're not going to find a lot of Chris Gables at your sports outing,
Accurate.
And you're not going to find a lot of people who you're going to look up to or go to for like sound, reasonable advice, squeeze next to you as they fucking jam chili cheese dogs down their throat and like fucking try to start fights with somebody because they're wearing a different jersey than they are.
I just came to a kind of a sort of depressing realization, but like, so I was thinking like, man, like these fucking, like, so I was thinking about professional athletes and how a lot of times after a career, like they'll go into some similar, like some capacity, like working also for like NFL, like maybe on TV or like in a training, like for the team in some whatever. They're like in the office or something.
Yeah.
And it's like this kind of big circle jerk. It's like once you're in, like once you get drafted, it's like now you have a career for whatever.
Right.
You could potentially have a career for your whole life. And I was like, man, that's stupid. And then I'm like, that's like a lot of stuff. Like that's kind of how a lot of just institutions it's why it's called an institution. Like we just in human society are like say academics. Like a lot of people who stay in academics just continue to do academic stuff. Like they don't like they might graduate from school with their whatever, and then they just then they start teaching. And so like never. Bill Murray in Ghostbusters says he's like, you've never been outside college before because Dan Aykroyd hasn't been in the private sector.
Yeah.
And like everything is kind of a circle jerk. Like everything we do is.
Well, there's two different ways to look at it. You like playing sports, you enter into a perpetual circle jerk of, nonsense. But with academics, presumably you're continuing to do research, or with research, presumably you're continuing to do research, or being a doctor, presumably you're continuing to learn more about some techniques. And so that perpetual circle jerk is actually you becoming honing your mastery of that thing. Whereas once you're done catching a ball from some doofus and doing a thing with it, you can't further master that because you're done.
Right.
You can further master pontificating about it. You can further master fueling some sort of bullshit, let's further create. Oh, well, what do you speculate that he did wrong there? Well, what he did was he did a ziggy when he should have zaggied, and all of a sudden, a chim cham a bada boom, and the doofus dookadoos won over the luckalucks.
And next year, I think they're going to be looking at this guy to play this position, and then they're going to do the same thing next year, and it's going to be a different guy.
And
we'll talk
bada bing,
about that.
bada boom, you're going to have the master of the World Cup 9, and he's going to be the chim cham of them all. And it's what?
Maybe a lot like
I
that.
just fucking listened to that for fucking 30 minutes. What you just said was a bunch of horse shit.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna dial it right before that and say I think the academic thing is still applicable because there's definitely professors in colleges all across, and I know that Greg will agree with this, that are just there because they have tenure or something, and they're not actually trying to further hone anything or do a good job teaching at all.
That's
true.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
There's some that could just shit in the box and put it in the lobby, and they still won't get fired.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it's a fucking circle jerk. It's once you're in there, it's hey, congratulations, now you're in academics. Welcome.
But the intention is, just like you can get on an exercise bike and eat donuts and gain weight, you can fucking exercise and gain weight simultaneously. The intention is you will achieve some greater level of fitness. The same way in the academic sphere, if you have tenure, chances are the intention is you will increase your academic fitness.
Right.
So whether or not you do that, shame on you if you don't. You got tenure and you're fucking everybody else over and yourself. When you graduate from, a sports player, what more are you going to do?
It's all downhill from here.
Yeah, bud.
That's true.
Unless you buy a bunch of make a bunch of good investments.
Oh, become like the George Foreman grill or something.
Yeah. Or Michael Jordan.
Oh, Michael Jordan. Yeah. People who don't know who Michael Jordan is wear Air Jordans.
They're all dead.
Well, no, I'm
Anyone
saying
who doesn't know who Michael Jordan is probably dead.
Well, there are people who were born after he retired that wear Air Jordans, not knowing who that guy on the tongue is.
No, but they still. I would think that if you know about Air Jordans, you know who Michael Jordan is.
Yeah, dude. I know who Charlie Chaplin is.
I don't know, man. I don't know. My nephew had a.
I think that's just stupid people. That's not.
That's what I mean.
I don't think that's an age thing.
My nephew, who was I think 13 when he made his mom buy him, who's a single mother. Well, she's divorced, but made his mom buy him a pair of LeBron James sneakers. These are fucking $250 shoes.
Yeah.
No, it's her fault for buying them these fucking shoes.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, dude, who's LeBron James? And he's like, oh, he plays basketball. It's like, oh, yeah? What position does he play? I don't fucking know. He could have told me left point center tackle, and I would have been like, oh, so you know. Okay. But, like, he couldn't tell me.
Yeah.
So, Greg, I think there's some validity to that,
Yeah.
people not knowing. They might know, like, oh, he was a basketball player.
Yeah. Well, there, somebody that we know said recently that his daughter, when she was 8 or 9, asked for Christmas she wanted Beats by Dre.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Michael
You know
Jordan's
what you're
a
getting?
little different, though.
You're getting
A little bit more iconic, and
yeah, but the point
I've
is,
never watched a basketball game in my life. But like, if you show me a picture of Michael Jordan, I'd be like, yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been on so many commercials.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not to mention Space Jam.
You could show me a silhouette of him. Doing
Also, yeah, let's
something,
not
and I
forget
know who
he
it was.
saved the world.
He
So
did. Yeah.
I guess it wasn't the world. I guess he saved the Looney Tunes.
The
Same thing.
bringing it back, I did find there is one purpose for competitive sports like football, NFL, and stuff like that. That is since we know, like, I think that like somebody, like maybe it was Ben Franklin, maybe it was Thomas Jefferson, I don't know. Somebody said
Thomas Emerson.
Jefferson. Sorry.
That's all right. You're just homophobic.
Somebody said, hey, we don't want like okay, we're the United States. Well, what if one state wants to go to war with another? What if one city wants to go to war with another? Well, maybe we should like find some like big pacifier for modern civilization and like their aggression, and
Yeah.
we'll just call it the NFL.
Yeah.
And we'll just get like fans to wear their own jerseys and stuff, and hopefully they won't kill each other in the bathroom, which they do sometimes, but for the most part they don't.
Acceptable losses.
Yeah.
Wait. Are you saying that, like, this was... Are you making this up?
I'm making up the historical part of it, but I think that is the function that sports play.
Oh,
No,
absolutely.
that's exactly... I was just... I recently learned that was the function of sports, was to, in
really?
peacetime, to, like,
Simulate war.
train and prepare armies for war.
That's what lacrosse is.
Oh, well,
Like specifically, like is a war game. It would
Yeah.
play like 100 guys on each side.
damn it! If I had been born hundreds of years ago, or 1,000, like I could have been a warlord. I could have been an emperor or something. Because I've got all these good ideas, and then I find out that they were already somebody else's ideas from a long time ago. Everything that I think of has already been thought of.
Do you guys know the origins of American football?
No.
So it's not like something from across the seas. It's not actual soccer, as we call it here. American football is between the earliest colleges in the United States. They would buy a keg, and they would put it in the middle of a field, regulation size like we have now, probably a little bit smaller. And the team that got it to the other side got to drink the keg.
Yeah, but it's also rugby, sort of.
A bit, yeah. I believe that like there's some origins in that, but that's the origin of it. That's
I thought
the
it
origin.
was just like an evolution from soccer to football. Like so it goes soccer, rugby, gridiron. Like
Well, I mean, the notions of it you can pick up
Gridiron.
from
Well, that's
there,
what-
but that's actually like the collegial NFL American football. That's how that started.
When was this? How long has football been around? I don't even know.
I think American football, like to be solidified, is the early 1900s, but
Okay.
it could be earlier than that. Again, without like checking my phone and shit, I don't know.
No, that's fine. That's all I wanted.
well, that's
in
what
general.
wild speculation is our. That's what
Yeah.
we do here. So
I didn't
But
know
that's
if it
how-
was like
I-
I think like golf has been around like hundreds of years and shit. I don't know.
I hope that like somebody actually knows exactly what you're talking about, and like you got a lot of it wrong, and they're just in their car like, no, that's not what happened.
Oh, and if that's you, you're an idiot.
But write us a review, and we'll respond.
Jesus
We'll read it.
created football.
Thomas Jefferson. I'm telling
Thomas
you.
Jefferson and the forefathers got together with Jesus
In the 1900s.
created football, and then they
To weed out all the gays.
blessed Ben Roethlisberger's hand or whatever. But only his right one, his left one's for touching kids or whatever he does. He did some shit like that, right?
See, we didn't get in
Yeah,
trouble
he
for
did.
all that racist shit last time, but we will get in trouble
Oh,
for
yeah,
that.
he probably
Oh,
will.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that fucking turd. I don't give a shit.
Local podcast accuses Roethlisberger of raping children.
Boo! Not cool.
Disqualified.
Yeah, right. They would definitely qualify. They would just disqualify him. They disqualify the Three Rivers
What if-
shitter.
What if we were?
Won't.
What if we were right and he went to jail because we said that?
Oh, local podcast puts him in jail. Wow, dude.
Like all of a
outs
sudden-
him.
people like stories start popping up. Me too. Me too. And,
Oh shit!
Dude, but for real, like if we put Ben Roethlisberger in jail, like we would have to move. We couldn't live here anymore because you know why? Because a bunch of dumb fucking idiots
Would come and burn my fucking
would
house
try to
down.
kill us all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
like it would be like I don't know how we'd get in touch with Jared. He wouldn't even have a cell phone. We'd be being chased down the street with like pitchforks. And that's a fucking I don't know.
Yeah.
Would it be like a rescue mission?
He'd probably be either the first or last to go.
Yeah, or maybe not.
I mean,
Because he couldn't call for help, but they might not find him until last.
I was about to say, yeah, I'd be harder to get to.
Yeah.
There's less information out there about it.
we said we were going to talk about this. I don't think we did. About Dan being in jail.
Oh man, I feel like we should save that.
That's a story for
another
another time.
Yeah, we should probably.
That's a long-
save
yeah,
that
that's a
one
long story.
for-
That's a good
it's
one, too.
It's a yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we totally botched that one. I
Yeah,
wanted
we
to hear
did.
his story and your story.
Oh, yeah, I was in jail, too.
Definitely on the next one.
Yeah.
in both
Maybe
of
we
those
should
stories.
have the Humans Go to Jail podcast. We can just recount our story.
Chris and Dan go to jail.
It's just you guys, yeah. None of us.
I just need the name
No,
of the
but
episode.
it's
We
good
should hype
to-
it up. We should be like, do you guys want to hear this? Hashtag Christian Dan.
Maybe
Chris
from
and Dan go to
this
jail.
one to the next one, we'll try to go to jail too.
Yeah, you guys should definitely go to jail.
Yeah.
Well,
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to end this one.
this is like the post-credits tease.
Yeah.
At the end of our movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we end this one and then we come back in like, hey, should we talk about the jail? Should we?
Well, after we play the theme song on this one, just we'll mail out a little clip that's just like,
Yeah.
this is Chris and Dan, and we were each once in jail.
Growing up, human, jail, people.
No, it ends with the kisses. Well, don't do it now. Wait for it. Wait for it. What do you mean, fuck? You started that.
I know.
You don't get to complain about that.
I'm saying it was the timing. I said fuck to.
Oh, okay.
Because it's
Timing was all wrong.
Okay. I thought it was the
All
noise.
wrong.
it's a rather sensitive topic for you. I
Yeah, thanks.
Send us out, Jared.
All right. That's
Send a
yeah.
little more Greg Nog my way.
So that's enough of that. Yeah, thanks for listening. That was episode number 47 of Grown Up Human Comic People. Let's go around the room. Oh, sorry. Yeah, check us out on the social media and make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Let's go around the table and de-introduce ourselves. Chris? Ooh,
I think you should end all the podcasts with saying, so that's enough of that. That should be your signing off thing.
And that's enough of that.
And that's enough of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
And I'm Jared, and that's enough of that. Yeah.
J-Man?
See ya.
Greg?
Good night, Gal Gadot, if you're listening.
Daniel?
See you guys later.
I'm Jared, and that's enough of that.
Grown-up human comic people! Grown-up human comic people!
Epicast.